Hello you guys, welcome to my first video with the Wool Hat Club. I'm Cheryl, I'm from Texas, and I am so excited to be here, and I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to be a part of your channel, and I look forward to getting to know all of you and having you get to know me. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So to start with, I think I should tell you that I love to talk, which is going to become obvious very soon, but I do love to talk, and so I think a lot of my videos are going to be like story time. So I was thinking like Monday Musings or something like that as my title, because I do love to talk. So that's mostly what my video formats are going to be. It's going to be story time. So today is going to obviously be a story time. And I wanted to talk about Michael Nesmith and the show he just did here in Houston a few weeks ago. I had never seen him live and in person before a few weeks ago. So I've waited a very long time to be able to actually see him in person. So I'm very excited to talk about that. I do promise that I'm gonna do a video about how I became a Monkees fan and all of that, but I just really wanted to talk about this, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of a backstory just to give you context, but the more in-depth thing I'll do next week. So I've been a Monkees fan since, I like to say since birth, because my mom was a Monkees fan and she grew up in the 60s, so I guess I'm a second generation fan, I guess is what you would say. And so I have waited, let's not count how many years, but I've waited all these years to see Michael Nesmith in person, and I finally got to do it, and I was just so excited about it. The only thing that was disappointing was that all the meet and greet passes were sold out by the time I got my tickets, so I didn't get to do a meet and greet with him, but maybe someday I'll get to meet him. I would love to meet him and have a conversation with him. But for me, I'm gonna go back a few months before the show just to kind of tell this story, because it's just so strange to me, but it's just how things work sometimes. So a few months ago, I was driving home from work, and I have satellite radio in my car, and I was listening to the 60s on 6. And I hadn't listened to that station in a very long time, and you know, I hadn't thought about the Monkees or Michael Nesmith or anything in a very long time, because it just wasn't something that was in the forefront of my mind. And I hadn't listened to that station in a very long time because last year my mom passed away, and it was very sudden, it was very unexpected, and one of the many things that my mom and I bonded over was music, and particularly music of the 60s. So for me, listening to that station, like every song pretty much reminds me of my mom, and so it was just a little bit too difficult for me to listen to. But for some reason that evening, I decided to listen to it, and it's so funny because it's almost like the second I turned it on, that station, they were playing Last Train to Clarksville, and I hadn't heard that song in so long, and I just started singing along, and I couldn't believe I actually remembered the lyrics. And then after the song was over, the DJ came on and you know, said that Michael had had quadruple bypass surgery, and I just basically fell apart right there in traffic, crying, and just so overcome with emotion about it, and sitting at a red light weeping. And I just have to say this about it. Since I was like 6 years old, I've always felt a connection with him, and it's like, I know I don't know him, and it sounds completely insane, but it's just the way that I feel. But every time I hear his voice, whether he's talking or singing or whatever, for me, that's like home. And that's home to me. And I'm not meaning like the structure that you go to where your family is, like that home. I'm talking about like a home inside your soul where you feel complete and utter joy, and you feel peace, and you feel safe, and you feel like everything's going to be okay. That's what Michael Nesmith is for me. He's home. And so when I heard that he had had the surgery and everything, it was very overwhelming to me. And I think added to all the loss that I've had just in a short period of time, it just all came together that evening for me. So when I got home that evening, I Googled, because I wanted to see like what was going on, if he was really okay. And I came across a Rolling Stone article where they had interviewed him, and he said he was fine. And at that point, when that article was written, he was at about 80%. And then I read that he was going to go on tour, and that the first show was going to be here in Houston. So I was really excited to find out about that. So anyway, like I said, I got my tickets, and I did splurge for the VIP tickets because I wanted to be up close. But all the meet and greet passes were sold out. So I didn't get an opportunity to do that. I wish I had, but I mean, I'm praying that there will be another opportunity for me to meet him someday. But the theater that the show was in it's a very old historic neighborhood, and the theater itself is historic. And it's a very cool little place. It's a small theater. It doesn't fit that many people, which I love. I don't know about you guys, but I love intimate venues like that because it just feels so much more personal. And the acoustics were amazing. It was really great. There was no opening act. It was just him and the First National Band. And it was almost like, for me, it was like I was holding my breath until he came out on the stage. And then it was like a sigh, like when I saw him standing there, and he looked really good. I mean, he looked so healthy, and he just looked phenomenal. And I saw his sweet smiling face, and I was just like, okay, he's fine, and it was just like I let out a breath, and I was just like, okay, now I can relax. But for you guys, I'm so sorry. I do not have a set list. I cannot tell you even what song he opened with, because everything was, for me, an emotional blur. There's only 2 songs that really stand out in my mind that he performed. And that's not to say that the show was bad or anything, because it was amazing. It was amazing. But I'm one of those people that when something exciting happens, I tend to have what I call blackout moments, where I'm experiencing it and I'm aware of what's going on, but if you ask me to recall it later, I have a hard time, unless, like I said, like these 2 songs stand out in my mind. But it was awesome. I mean, he sounded great, he looked great, everything was great. But it's just, I'm one of those people that when I get so excited and so emotionally involved in something, I tend to black out things like that. So I'm sorry I don't have like a set list for you, or can tell you like he opened with this song. I have no idea. I honestly do not have any clue what song he opened with. I'm sure it was a really great song, as they all are great, right? So, but the 2 songs that stick out in my mind, one is when he performed The Crippled Lion. That is one of my favorite songs. And you guys, that song, man, those lyrics are everything. I mean, I relate to that song in so many ways, and especially with everything that I've been through, that song for me is like, that's like my song. And so when he performed that song, I started tearing up and kind of crying. And my friend that was with me, her name is Cheryl also, which I guess is not too confusing, right? So Cheryl is like patting me and trying to comfort me. And I'm not like weeping or anything, you guys. I mean, I'm not like making a fool of myself, but I am tearing up. And she knows, like Cheryl knows what that means to me, this whole thing. And she knows everything, you know, obviously she knows what I've been through. So she's just a really good friend to me because she just understood. And so I got emotional during that song. And then he did, when he sang, I've Just Begun to Care, at the end of the song, you guys, he got emotional. And like when he was done, he was like wiping his eyes, and he was crying. And so I started crying because I'm an empath. And so it's really hard to be an empath, you guys, it really is. If you cry, I cry. But so then I was just, you know, everything's already so emotionally charged, so for me. And so then when he's like emotional, I'm like, oh God. And then I start crying. So it was beautiful. That's the word I could use to describe the whole night. It was beautiful. And I wished that it could have gone on and on forever and ever. But that probably wouldn't have worked too well because, I mean, he does need to like sleep and stuff, right? But it would have been nice if he could have just gone on singing all night long. But I think he played for, I want to say, almost 90 minutes. And there, like I said, there was no opening act. So, I mean, I was very amazed at that. I mean, the guy just had major surgery like a few months ago, and he's standing there doing this whole set and like nothing ever happened. And it was wonderful. It was amazing. And I adore him. I think he is wonderful. And I hope I get to see him again soon. I would love to see him again soon. And especially since I noticed that like on his subsequent dates, he's added more songs. So I'd love to see that. So that's really all I have for now. I'm really sorry that I don't have more details about the set list or anything, but it was just a wonderful, wonderful show. And I will talk more next week about how I became a Monkees fan and a Michael Nesmith fan. And I hope you guys all have a great week. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to this channel, please. And I will put my Instagram below. Please follow me on Instagram if you don't already. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.